appreciative of Allo service.
To get a free quote, switch today. Visit allofiber.com/workfast or call 402-480-6685.
Take a look at your backyard. Does it feel like something is missing? You're right. Now is the perfect time to get an above-ground swimming pool from Bonzal Pool and Spa. Above-ground pools require less space than in-ground pools, are temporary structures if you ever choose to move, and are low maintenance. Plus, you'll never have to worry about the kids getting bored in the summertime anymore. Visit bonzalpool.com to schedule a pool service or visit them at 33rd and Highway 2. Bonzal Pool and Spa.
The Army National Guard plays a vital role in your community. We're on the front lines supporting essential personnel, first responders, law enforcement, and medical professionals, delivering food, supplies, and medicine, keeping communities safe, making a difference. During emergencies, we're always ready, always there. Learn more about part-time service in the Army National Guard at nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
New owners means new lunch specials at the Fox Bar and Grill. They've just introduced tons of options on their new under $10 lunch menu. Small nachos grande, a classic cheeseburger, 4 boneless or traditional wings and fries, or a small single topping pizza for just $5 each. Try the mushroom Swiss burger or the pepper jack stack burger for just $6. And for just $7, try any of the classic steak Philly, club wrap, grilled chicken salad, or grilled southwestern salad. It's the under $10 lunch menu at the Fox Bar and Grill, just south of 14th and Pine Lake.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket sports news go now.
I'm Enrique Alvarez-Clary. Nebraska football and its head coach Scott Frost are currently under investigation by the NCAA for violations that date back 12 months. According to Brett McMurphy of the Action Network, the school has, quote, significant video footage, end quote, of the practice violations. The NCAA has been in contact and interviewed Frost, multiple current and former staff members, administration, and players regarding the allegation. It is also being reported that last year when the NCAA restricted teams getting together for organized activities, Nebraska's strength workouts were moved to an off-campus location, though it is currently unknown if the NCAA is actually investigating those allegations. Keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket for more information as it becomes available. In the MLB, the New York Yankees swept a doubleheader against the Red Sox 5-3 and 2-0 and took Boston's place as the second wildcard team in the American League. The Chicago Cubs snapped a 12-game losing streak with a 2-1 win over the Cincinnati Reds, and the Kansas City Royals look to sweep the Houston Astros tonight following a 3-1 win yesterday. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez-Clary.
C is for chunk.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good afternoon. Welcome in. This is day 3 of the happy hour here on 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. Nick Sainer, Enrique Alvarez-Clary with you. Hello, Rico.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I am well. I am tired. I
am as well. I went to bed. I was telling Jake just before we came on that I went to bed at like 9:45 last night. Woke up at like 7 this morning. Decent amount of sleep.
Mhm.
Very exhausted still.
I fell asleep on the couch with Elliot at probably 9:30. But she had napped before that, starting at like 6:45 until like 7, or not 7, till like 8.
Okay.
So
yeah, well, and I know
she was full of energy for like an hour, and I was like, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
You lay here, we watch Phineas and Ferb, and hopefully you go to sleep.
Before we get rolling here, do we have any texts from Tyler and Phoenix or Garbage Man yet?
Let's see. First on the text line today, a new one.
Ooh.
Colin in Lincoln. Am I first? Colin, you are first. Congratulations. You win nothing.
We're going to do this every day, folks. Get used to it.
Sorry, Garbage Man. You were second.
I don't care about how much news is going on around Lincoln.
And Tyler, third. Tommy Gunn, we also love the intro. Unnamed texter, you were not first. Heller Lemon.
Lemon, I have to give credit to Lemon.
Shout out
been
Lemon
here.
for texting every day.
Yeah, Lemon's been here every day. Tyler, you've been here every day. Just kind of spotty on
So
the,
is Garbage
on the time.
Man.
Garbage Man, yeah.
I don't know about Colin. I think Colin's been here at least the last 2 days. I don't know about the first day. But
Yes.
shout out to everybody who is listening on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com, or watching/listening on the Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch pages. You can check that out if you would like. The Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream. Like I said, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Drop a like, drop a follow, drop a subscription. Yeah, on YouTube.
Yeah, you can
subscription.
subscribe to YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also comment on there. We get the comments from all of them over here, or you can text or call in to the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line, 402-464-5685. There we go.
Absolutely correct. I'm glad Rico did that, so I didn't have to. Thank you, Rico.
You're welcome.
Just a quick update on the slow pitch softball games that I talked about last night before we get rolling here. We won one, we lost one. I rolled into a double play last night in the first game. Not happy about it. We scored a run out of it, however, so it all worked out. We lost the first game after being up 9-1. We won the second game 17-4, I think. So good showing by the squad last night.
I threw a no home runner once in slow pitch softball.
No home runner.
The one season that I played slow pitch softball, I had to pitch once because we ran out of, or people just didn't want to pitch.
Yeah, pitching's not fun.
So they're like, all right, Rico, get up there. And I tossed a no home runner and we won. There's no such thing as a no hitter, so I consider no home runs allowed in slow pitch softball a pretty big accomplishment.
I would as well. Shout out Lemon one more time. He will not, or he or she, we don't know which one.
Lemon will not.
Lemon will not be here during the show tomorrow. So the streak will end. Good news, Lemon, and for everybody else, if you miss any of the happy hour, there's a podcast page, just like there is for any of the shows, just at theticketfm.com. I think we're on Apple Podcasts.
Wherever you get podcasts.
Yeah, exactly. We're there. All right, Rico. What was your reaction? I was at the press conference today with Trev and Scott and Lubick, Austin, Brant Banks talked, Oliver Martin talked. What was your reaction this morning? It's going to be a lot of the same stuff you've heard all day, but just from a different perspective, different voice. We might think might stir up some new ideas. So if you have any thoughts or comments on everything, or even if you want to send in the same comment as before, please do. We'll get to them. I haven't been able to look at the text line from this morning. I don't know if Rico has. So send us your thoughts. I want to dive into this a little bit. We're going to talk about some other things. It's not going to be just about the NCAA violations that Nebraska is undergoing right now, or the investigation, I should say. But that's going to be a good bulk of it today, and rightfully so. So, Rico, what was your initial reaction this morning, just around 8 a.m., when good old Brett McMurphy, the bearer of bad news when it comes to Nebraska stuff, it seems like.
If Brett McMurphy says anything involved, like if Brett McMurphy has a tweet and you see the word Nebraska in it, if you care for your sanity, just don't read it.
Just don't read it. So what was your reaction? Like, I know how you feel now, but like, what was the process? What's the process of today been like through the mind of Rico?
At first, I saw the tweet, I read the story, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is serious. What are we going to do? What is Scott Frost going to do? What's the administration going to do? What are they going to say? And then I had a little more time and I read the story again and I thought, this is nothing. They practiced when they shouldn't have practiced. I mean, it's still a violation, but it's nothing, really. Much ado about nothing. And I just thought it was stupid that they even did it, or that they're going to get in trouble for it. And slowly my process has evolved into, who's the rat?
Yeah.
Is the rat still here? Is the rat somebody that is no longer here? I'm not going to throw any names out because I don't know. Nobody knows except for the person who leaked it and the person who received the leak. But nobody knows, so we're not going to throw any names out. We're not going to suggest that it was anybody, but I kind of want to know if somebody is still within the program that leaked it, because if so, Nebraska needs to tighten up. Because it just seems like every little thing that happens within the Nebraska football program gets leaked. Somebody is leaking it to somebody somewhere, and within, with social media nowadays, within 10 minutes, everybody around the country, around Nebraska, knows what's going on, and it's not a great look. It's not a great look.
No, I agree there. And there's been a couple, people have thought about, what about Jonathan Rutledge, former special teams analyst? And part of this investigation is with the analysts and the having more of a hands-on approach at practice. Also, there's Jared Lambrecht that left just a couple weeks ago. However, I am very confident that it's not one of those two, especially Lambrecht. Something major would have had to happen with Lambrecht. He's been with Frost since UCF.
They're best friends.
He was his chief of staff at UCF. And so for something like this to come out from a guy like that, who's this close to the head coach, it would be shocking. And it would mean that there's something deeper going on there. But yeah, that is certainly a question mark. We get this off the text line, and this was one of the main things. The press conference started a little bit later today, so you kind of had that vibe. The vibe around Memorial Stadium today, folks, was uncomfortable.
I was going to ask you, you were there. How did it feel when you got there, and then when Trev and Scott walked up to the podium?
It was uncomfortable. Everybody kind of knew, like everybody's in the same mindset of, okay, like these violations, like, yeah, they're violations, but if you go to the next school, it's probably going to, like, there's probably doing it too. Nebraska kind of just is the one they're being looked at under the microscope now, but it was still just uncomfortable. You didn't know what we were going to be able to ask. You didn't know who was going to talk. You had Lubick and stuff on the schedule, but then Trev and Frost came out at about 10:50 this morning. And they're just like, listen,
20 minutes late.
Yeah, they're just like, we're not going to be able to talk about a lot of this stuff, but we wanted to come out as, one combined and one, together, one group, I should say, and say, hey, this is, we're going to tackle this. We've been fully cooperative. They sent out the statement a little bit before, and that was, I'm sure designed and planned and stuff.
Necessary.
But it was very interesting because I believe Sam McEwen asked Trev, and he's like, hey, when did you find out about this? When did this start? And Travis was like, listen, it started before I got here, predate to my arrival, but I found out about it after I got here.
Mm-hmm.
And so
which is kind of messed up.
Yeah, I agree with that. You
because
think
the university knew they were being investigated. Scott Frost knew he was being investigated.
Yeah.
And you're hiring a new athletic director where this is going to be something he's going to have to deal with. And before he takes the job, you're not like, oh, by the way, we might have like a small investigation with the NCAA going on, just a small little thing that they're looking into.
Yeah, and then there was some
just some violations.
Exactly. And then there was some I want to be careful about how I approach this because I don't want to make it seem like we're just sweeping it under the rug. But I have a feeling that this is just kind of going to fizzle away.
Okay, so Sipple said this earlier today. It's going to burn hot. It's going to burn bright, but it's going to burn quickly also. So Nebraska's going to have to deal with this for couple of days, maybe a week, maybe up until the Illinois game, and honestly, probably depending on the outcome of that game, might go away.
Yeah,
at least you won't hear about it until a decision is made.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that a little later. Is how much more the Illinois game means now.
Yeah, well, because like you think about some of the other serious allegations that universities have had against them, and you think of when it first came out, how long it lasted, and then you don't hear anything about it. Kansas is still getting investigated. I don't know if people still know that, but all the stuff that they did with their basketball program and the illegal benefits and everything that was going on there, they're still being investigated. They still haven't been found guilty or been not charged, but punished by the NCAA for anything. But people just stop talking about it until Kansas basketball comes up with something good, and all of a sudden the comments in whatever post is just like, oh, you're still being investigated by the NCAA. Like it's gonna happen for a little bit. We're gonna be talking about it for a little bit, and then depending on the Illinois game, if they lose the game, maybe still talk about it. Maybe with the loss to Illinois and the bad record and the investigations, is Scott Frost's job still safe? That's gonna happen. Like it's gonna happen.
Well,
regardless.
I think those conversations are already happening now, and maybe it's rightfully so, or warranted that we're having these discussions of what solid ground is Scott Frost standing on. Is there solid ground that Scott can stand on right now? Because if you go back to last year, and I said this during the Tom and Bach show, is if you go back to last year when nobody was playing football, Nebraska, and more specifically Frost and even Bill Moose in that category, their whole thing was, whether they were pitching it to recruits, pitching it to the fan base, their whole thing was, hey, when everybody else didn't want to play football, Nebraska did. And now it's kind of coming back to bite them in the butt a little bit.
When everybody else wasn't supposed to practice, Nebraska did.
And so now I wonder, is Scott still standing on any solid ground? Obviously, the wins and the losses are what's going to swing that the most, and rightfully so. However, I think the Illinois game got much more important now. And there's talks, and right when it came out of Scott, possibly being suspended, there's chances that Nebraska might lose some practice hours. Like there's stuff like that could fall down. I don't know if we're going to get an answer on what what is going to happen or what the result of this investigation is by next Saturday.
I mean, if they've been investigating it for 12 months, I don't think we're getting any type of resolution anytime soon. But I mean, like you said, it's not going to be anything major that happens to this program. They're not going to lose postseason eligibility. If they happen to make the postseason, they're not going to lose 20 scholarships or anything like that. Like the most that's going to happen is Scott Frost, maybe some of their coaches get suspended or they lose practice hours. Like it's not, I want to be careful with how I say this. It's not that big of a deal, but it is still a violation. You are not supposed to do that. And the reason that it is such a big deal, they practiced when they weren't supposed to practice. Oh, woe is me. That's what people are saying. The reason it's such a big deal right now is because 12 months ago or however long ago when this happened, we were and still are in the middle of a global pandemic. Nobody knew what was going on. There was no vaccine back then. Nobody knew what was happening. They were trying to keep people separate. The Big Ten had just canceled its season because nobody knew what was happening. They were trying to keep people away from other people. They didn't want it to spread to athletes. They didn't want it to spread on campuses, within communities, and all that stuff. So the fact that Nebraska got together in a large group, and went through workouts where you're breathing heavy, you're sweating, you're high-fiving, you're messing, whatever, I don't know, whatever you're doing in practices, you're lifting weights, again, in a confined area, that's what makes this such a big deal. It's kind of like it's nothing like the Arizona State thing. Let me actually say that, but they weren't supposed to bring anybody on campus for visits. That doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but the NCAA said you can't bring people on campus to visit. That is our rule during this pandemic. What's Arizona State do? Whatever. We can bring people on campus. It's outdoor. It's fine. Nobody cares. Now look what's happening. So many people are going on administrative leave at Arizona State because of them bringing people on campus or having practices when they weren't supposed to. So it's not that big of a deal that they went out and practiced or lifted weights when they said they wanted to play football. But the fact that the NCAA gave you a ruling saying, hey, don't do this until we figure out what the heck's going on. And Nebraska said, you know what? We're going to do it anyways. That's why it's a big deal.
And another thing that was made in the report today, Nebraska fans still can't escape the whole Oklahoma stuff. Apparently Frost made a call to multiple group of 5 schools without telling or notifying Bill Moose. And Bill Moose straight up said to the Omaha World Herald and said something about, listen, I had to take the fall for it. I knew nothing about it, all that. Today, Scott was asked about that. And Scott said, quote, hold on 1 second. I have to find the tweet here.
Okay.
I have never made one single phone call in regard to our schedule. He said something else, and then he finished with, I love that rivalry. We're getting to the point where it's just he said, she said. And it's kind of annoying because you know what's true, you know what's not true, and you're just kind of along for, we have to listen to this, and here we go. Because an unnamed texter 402-464-5685. I can't wait until tomorrow when this literally never comes up again. Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. You're probably going to hear about it at the start of the Illinois game. And then like Rico said at the start of the show today, if Nebraska tops Illinois and they start out 1-0, you're not going to hear about this. We might hear about it a couple months down the road when the NCAA makes their decision known and stuff, and we'll hear about it then, and it'll be very, very minor, and people are going to say, why did we worry about it? Why did the Nebraska media blow it out of proportion? Because that's what this does. Everybody wants to talk about it. You can't, because I can tell you right now, they got blasted on the morning show today for talking about fumbles for 8 minutes. because they weren't talking about this. So if we weren't to talk about
Damned
it, even
if you
though,
do, damned if you don't.
yeah, either way.
And that's
so
Andrew on the text line. Well, he's never going to answer the question, so quit asking. That's the problem.
that's our job.
People don't want him to ask. People don't want the media to ask Scott Frost a question about this because, well, he's not going to answer anyways. But then if you don't ask him a question, if you just keep asking about football stuff, people are going to say, well, why didn't you ask him about the reason he's being investigated?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you ask him why they had, analysts doing coaching if that's, what's happening? Why didn't you ask him why you were practicing at an offsite location? Like that it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. You ask him, stop asking him.
Yeah.
You don't ask him, why didn't you ask him?
So going back to the Illinois game, just to wrap up this first segment, we got a couple minutes left before we take a break.
And also, I'm sorry to all the texters that I was making it seem like, that the reason they're being investigated is because of the practices. That is part of it. They're not. Brett McMurphy said in his story that they weren't sure if the NCAA was investigating the practices or the weightlifting, that they were investigating the analyst part of it. I have nothing about the analysts. I don't know, because you had Jonathan Rutledge, the special teams analyst. So he's a special teams analyst, so he's not allowed to coach. He's not allowed to go out there and interact with the players. But at the same time, that's kind of what you brought him in for.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what a lot of universities, and I'm not, going to pass this off as, oh, well, everybody does it, so why is Nebraska being punished for it? You're not supposed to do it. The other universities do it. Well, guess what? They haven't been caught doing it. So they're probably still going to do it until they get caught.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not supposed to do it.
Yeah, and I actually got asked this earlier today about, how it has to be a rat or a mole in the program, because why would they videotape? They videotape every practice. Every single thing that they do, they videotape. So that's not surprising anyway. Let's move on to the next week's game. What does this mean for Illinois? You hope nothing. Frost said today at his presser that, the guys are still lasered focused, and you don't expect this to trickle down to the guys. I don't think it will. However, it still is a distraction. It's still it's still drawing the attention of the upper body of the program away from solely the next week's game, if that makes sense. If they're being fully compliant, which they are. And
you're
so
focusing on you want to be focusing on football, and now you're focusing on football and an NCAA investigation, and that's not what you want to do.
Yeah, and like this sucks. Like it does. And any negative talk or any negative narratives about your program kind of just puts you in the wrong direction, which is something that the Nebraska team does not need. I talked about it yesterday that they just need to get wins. And that's where we keep going back to. If they just take care of business next week against Illinois, they're going to be just fine. They're going to be just fine either way, but especially getting off on the right foot, starting off a season 1-0 with 2 very winnable games in the next 2 weeks with Fordham and Buffalo. There's just so much opportunity out there on that front half of that schedule, despite Oklahoma. Even with Oklahoma, you could say there's opportunity to just get some positive momentum, which now more than ever, they needed it before anyway, in terms of solely wins and losses, but to a degree of just a facelift and a positive momentum trending in their direction. These first 3 games are extremely important for.
If you win, it's forgotten until you get handed a punishment, in which case it will not be forgotten.
And so a quiet offseason outside of the whole Oklahoma debacle, which Nebraska is not going to live down for a while, which we all knew that.
I wonder what the signs look like at Oklahoma when Nebraska goes down there.
I don't know. I'll let you guys know.
Yeah. You're going to be down there.
I will be down there. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Nick and Norman.
Yes.
I'll definitely call you.
That's fine. I think I'm going to do the show Friday. And then I'll just leave after. I'm still deciding on stuff.
You'll have time.
Yeah, we're still a month out.
It's
from
Norman,
that.
Oklahoma. It's not that.
It's a month from today, I believe.
Woohoo!
Is when I dip out, or maybe that's the game. I think it's the game is a month away. So, yeah, quiet off season, which is usually a good thing. There's not too many injuries outside of, Will Honus, which we knew, Fedoni, Corcoran. Greg Austin elaborated on Turner Corcoran a little bit more today. We'll get into that the next segment.
I love how you said no injuries, and then you named 3.
No, I named 3, but
3 pretty big names.
That's well, Corcoran's going to be fine.
Honus
Vokalek's
is
going to
not.
be fine. Honus is not.
Fedoni not.
Fedoni will be towards the end of the season, but still, there's no quarterback injury as of, knock on wood. Wide receiver room's healthy and is as deep as Nebraska's ever had it and stuff. And so, a somewhat quiet, somewhat just, laid back offseason where it felt like Nebraska was finally getting some wind beneath their wings is kind of hit a speed bump here. And it's going to be a little bit of a talking point until next Saturday's game. But we had to talk about it for the first segment. We'll let it spill over a little bit into the second segment here. Keep sending in your thoughts and comments on the Starter Heyman text line. Go ahead and call in as well, 402-464-5685. We'll get into some more of the stuff from Greg Austin and the rest of the press conference after the break here on the Happy Hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
For consistent weather here across the region, we'll see sunny skies, an afternoon high of around 90. South winds at 15 to 20. Overnight, mainly clear. A low dropping down to around 70. Mostly sunny tomorrow with a high of 89. By Friday, though, increasing clouds and an increasing chance of rain. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Mike Schaefer here with five-star child care provider Lee Beecher from Bubbles and Blocks. Let's start with what makes Bubbles and Blocks special.
We have 3 beautiful locations in Lincoln that provide the safety, security, and reliability you need while also bringing a family feel to each classroom at every location.
I also hear some congratulations are in order.
Thank you. Yes, we just won the Lincoln Choice Award for Best Daycare and Preschool for the 3rd year in a row.
What should people do if they want to join the Bubbles and Blocks family?
Call to set up a tour to enroll your child today, or you can visit bubblesandblocks.com to apply to join our team.
Is our internet down again? That's the question you hear around the office when you experience an outage with outdated communication services. Allo knows businesses need reliable internet to keep everything moving. This is why Tammy Stevenson of the Bridge Behavioral Health switched to Allo.
Expedient and reliable service is critical because we provide care to our clients 24/7. We're just very, very appreciative of Allo service.
To get a free quote, switch today. Visit allofiber.com/workfast or call 402-480-6685.
When you choose new flooring, you don't want to wait for weeks or months to enjoy it. You want it installed right away. Hi, Steve Carper from O Street Carpet. We hear stories every day about long waits and installation charges way higher than necessary. When you choose O Street Carpet, we'll measure free, install right away, and at a much better price. Stop in, shop now. Proud to be Lincoln's choice for nearly 50 years.
O Street Carpet,
1732 O Street and ostreetcarpet.com.
Keep your home comfort system running efficiently with ESP from Bryant. Get total system checks twice each year and never pay overtime on service calls. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
Don't you feel so free out here on the lake?
Not as free as this soda.
Where'd you get free soda?
Casey's. Buy 4 fountain drinks, 5th one's free.
I love free.
Well, then you'll love this. Bought this jerky. Got this free donut.
I love free donuts.
With Casey's Summer of Freedom sweepstakes, the more you buy, the more you can win, including free Lee Brice concert tickets. Casey's, here for good. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. For official rules, visit Casey's.com.
Take a look at your backyard. Does it feel like something is missing? You're right. Now is the perfect time to get an above-ground swimming pool from Bonsall Pool and Spa. Above-ground pools require less space than in-ground pools, are temporary structures if you ever choose to move, and are low maintenance. Plus, you'll never have to worry about the kids getting bored in the summertime anymore. Visit bonsallpool.com to schedule a pool service or visit them at 33rd and Highway 2. Bonsall Pool and Spa.
New owners means new lunch specials at the Fox Bar and Grill. They've just introduced tons of options on their new under $10 lunch menu. Small nachos grande, a classic cheeseburger, 4 boneless or traditional wings and fries, or a small single topping pizza for just $5 each. Try the mushroom Swiss burger or the pepper jack stack burger for just $6. And for just $7, try any of the classic steak Philly, club wrap, grilled chicken salad, or grilled southwestern salad. It's the under $10 lunch menu at the Fox Bar and Grill, just south of 14th and Pine Lake.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back here, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com, the Happy Hour. Nick Sainert, Enrique Alvarez Clary with you. Ooh, Good first segment there.
That was a nice first segment.
Yeah.
A lot to talk about.
A lot of passion, which is the Nebraska fan base wrapped up in one word, passion.
Crazy.
We get this off the text line. Can we find your shows on a podcast on iTunes? You should be able to. iTunes, Mark?
Mark?
Not yet.
Not yet iTunes.
So
thanks, boss man.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We're still figuring out all the new stuff. A lot of new stuff going on this week. Hope you guys have liked the new lineup. It's been a lot of fun, I think.
I hope you guys listen after our show and after DP's one-on-one show, because Jay Foreman and DP have just been lighting into Nick, and it's pretty
They
funny.
have been, and it's a lot of soul. I'm learning a lot about hip hop.
Have you learned that dance yet?
I have not. I've started to.
You're not going to get it.
I can't move
You're
my
not gonna
hips
get
as
it.
well as Ed Lover
You're not going
has.
to get it.
Or Ed Lover does
I'm
also.
so sad for you.
I am going to get it. They give me a week.
Okay.
I have until next Monday.
All right.
So I hope you guys have enjoyed the new lineup, including our show, but also with Happer and Schaefer from 8 to 11. They got to break that news right away.
Happer's still breaking news.
Yeah. No matter what time he's on.
He used to break news at 3. Now he breaks news at 8. Look at him. I'm so proud of him.
So, and then Tom and Bach with their new show as well, and then us. Also, we get this off to Starter Heyman text line. Andrew says, my point is that it's not the media's job to keep a story alive.
That's actually exactly what the media's job is.
But also, it's part of it is just to continue finding out all the facts about it, and we're still learning, I think. We know the bulk of it, and we'll just see what happens going down the road. Let's move on here. Greg Austin spoke to the media today at the presser, had some things to say about Turner Corcoran. They don't know if he's going to be ready for Illinois next week. So in that case of no Corcoran, it's going to be Brant Banks at left tackle.
Ooh.
They're really comfortable with the depth that they have at that position with either Brant Banks or Ezra Miller, Nori Nueli, and then even mentioned Teddy Prohaska.
They're going to move Norden out from the inside?
Yeah, so they're saying they're starting to cross-train a lot of guys, which is kind of interesting.
That's good.
They feel like they have a good mix of guys that can move inside, outside, and outside to inside as well. He also mentioned that they understand the reason that they're cross-training a lot is because he understands, and the staff is acknowledging that they might have some guys that either test positive throughout the season, that they might be contract tracing ordeals still. And so that they're going to need to be flexible in that group, in that offensive line group. And then also you still have the same concerns with future injuries and stuff like that. And so they're starting to cross-train or cross-training more guys than they have in the past with, whether it's Ben Hart, he mentioned, and Brant Banks and Norden Nueli, Teddy Prohaska, some of those younger guys, if you can throw Henry Lutovsky in that middle or in that mix as well. He also mentioned that the second guy behind Cam Jurgens at center is going to be Trent Hickson.
Oh.
And so he said that Trent Hickson has that spot, not on lock necessarily, but he's the main guy at in the number 2 position there at center.
So did anybody ask? I know probably nobody asked. Did anybody ask if there was? I don't know. This would probably be a dumb question to ask. Probably wouldn't get answered anyways. But if there was any issues with snapping, would they sub Trent Hickson in for Cam Jurgens and then put Cam Jurgens at guard?
Nobody asked that. I
figure nobody will.
I think a lot of
ever.
people are hoping that they don't have to worry about
fine.
it. Yeah, that the snap issues are resolved. And I kind of have confidence that they have been. Because I feel like that should have been one of the more focal points of the offseason here.
You would think so.
Is the snaps. He also mentioned that, or he was asked, I should say, Greg Austin was asked if anybody's been held out this spring. He kind of hesitated and was like, no, I can't say. I can't comment on if anybody's been held out due to sickness or other injuries that we don't know about. He mentioned that he really likes the running game. He really likes the room of the running backs, whether it's Gabe Irving or Marquise Stepp, or he even mentioned Jock Yant a little bit in that mix. He said that his most common saying that he likes to say every single practice is run or one cut and get the F downhill.
I like it.
And so he goes, he said, he mentioned, and Greg Austin's awesome. I love listening to Greg Austin. And Greg Austin was just saying that he goes, it's our job to make the holes to get them through the line of scrimmage. But then once they get out into space, I tell them, then make your magic happen.
That's on you now.
And so he goes, as long as we do our job, as long as they do their job of opening up some holes for whoever the running back is, whether it's a Gabe Ervin or Marquise Stepp, Jock Yant. I'm missing one. I can't think of his name. It's escaping me.
Savion Morrison.
Savion Morrison. Thank you.
The smaller, more speedy of the backs.
Yeah, whichever one is carrying the ball for the Huskers, Greg Austin's made it very clear that make a cut and then get downhill.
It's a lot of size up front. I'm hoping that the Turner Corcoran injury is just for week 1 and that you'll be able to get him back after that, because I know he's only technically he's still a freshman because last year didn't count, but in that Rutgers game he looked amazing. And you give him another off season to get bulk, to get himself more familiar with the offense, with the blocking teams and everything. I can only imagine how good he is right now.
Yeah.
But to be injured and to miss this first conference game kind of hurts. But as long as you're not missing him for an extended period of time, I think it'll be okay. Although I have complete faith in the offensive line. For some reason, I love the offensive line. Like, I feel extremely confident about the starters, the backups, and everything going into this season.
Yeah, I think, and I want to make it clear, Greg did not mention or did not rule Turner out for week 1. He just said that there's a chance that if he was out, then Brant Banks would be the starting left tackle. Also, and Turner's injury, the extent to his injury, we've known it for a short amount of time. It's just kind of been, bumps and bruises and just kind of dealing with some small things. So it's nothing serious there. Like I said, there is a chance that he starts week 1 and everything's
Bumps and
fine.
bruises for an offensive lineman seem like a lot, because it's every single, like, unlike quarterback or wide receiver, sometimes running back, like those positions can avoid contact. So they don't have to get hit every play. Whereas an offensive lineman, you're going straight head to head with somebody every single play.
Well, and it was kind of interesting.
So if you got just a sore shoulder, like that's just going to be magnified by the second or third quarter.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting because when Brant Banks was talking to the media today, he was asked, what kind of transition do you have to make from working inside to outside? And he goes, he straight up was like, listen, it's kind of different because when you're on the outside, you're facing a guy like Caleb Tanner, and you have to worry a little bit more about technique, and you have to get off the ground a little quicker and stuff. But he said, but then when you move inside, you're facing a guy like Damian Daniels. And he said there's two completely different defenders and the way that they play their game as well. And he said, so when you're inside working with Damian Daniels, you're just trying to stay strong. But when you're outside, you have to worry about being quick without sacrificing technique. And so he talked about that adjustment a little bit, which was interesting to hear right from Brant Banks, what it was like to be cross-trained at both. But it certainly can't help. We see it in the defensive back room all the time with cross-training guys. And that's something that Travis Fisher prides himself on, is being able to move a guy, whether it's whether it's in the nickel slot, whether it's in the corner slot. That's something that this staff kind of prides themselves on, is trying to find versatile guys that can play multiple positions within a certain group. And so that's a good chunk from the Greg Austin stuff today. Other than that, there was a really good article yesterday in Hail Varsity about Noah Pola-Gates. And if you have not read it, I highly recommend that you do.
That's my guy.
Yeah, Noah Pola-Gates. He hasn't really seen the field a whole lot. He dealt with a shoulder injury. And just to remind you, he was a guy coming out of high school that he played in the All-American Bowl.
He lit up Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yes.
Which people were slightly upset about at the time.
Yeah. And so it was interesting to hear from Noah Pola-Gates and say he just had to learn football when he got here. Like there were so many facets of the game that he did not know, because when you're in high school and you're a high 4-star athlete like he was, I believe he was from Arizona.
Yes.
Like he was able to dominate his level just at off sheer athleticism. And here at Nebraska, or in the Big Ten Conference, or in high Division I football, you can't do that. And so he talked about how he had to learn football and the little makings of football when he got here. He said his coming to football moment was when Nebraska was playing Colorado a couple years ago, and he was on special teams because that's kind of when he got thrown in the fire one time. And Laviska Chenault just
that's a fun
broke
name.
his ankles.
That's a fun name to have your first coming to football moment against.
Yeah. And so he's like, he talked about going up against dudes like Mike Williams, who came from East Mississippi Junior College, and then also going up against guys like I lost the name, but either way, Mike Williams,
Jerron Woodyard,
possibly super twitchy guys. He goes, it just learned, that I can't, like, even my athleticism wasn't good enough to stay with those guys. So you have to learn call outs and signals and all that stuff from the defensive back room. And he said just being cross-trained is helping him out because he's fighting for time both behind Dismuke and Deontay Williams, paired alongside Miles Farmer as the number 2 guys in that room. But then he's also fighting for time in the cornerback room opposite Cam Taylor-Britt, but still behind Quentin Newsome, Braxton Clark, stuff like that.
I know his name was mentioned. It was pretty quickly. His name was mentioned the other day when they were talking about maybe not the number 2 corner, but who's going to back up the number 2, maybe like the number 3 corner. His name was mentioned among, Braxton Clark and guys like that. So,
and that's the greatest thing.
He's still out there fighting. He's still, he's been here for 3 years. 3 years, I want to say.
Yeah, but he's still a freshman.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these guys, and that's another thing.
Yeah, because he only played 2-3 games, redshirted. Last year didn't count. So yeah, he's a freshman. This team has, I think Happer mentioned it yesterday. I think he said 35 scholarship freshmen.
Yeah,
because of COVID and everything else, the redshirting and everything. So 35 scholarship freshmen. This is a young but also kind of old team. Like technically, if Noah Pola, this is weird. If Noah Pola Gates had a really good year and decided he wanted to go into the NFL draft, he could as a freshman because he's had 3 years of football.
Yeah.
So that's a thing to look out for.
And going back to the offensive line, I forgot to add this in there, is they're still young.
Extremely.
They're still young with a lot of experience. And, I don't want to jump the gun in saying that this offensive line is one of the stronger parts of this offense, but they have quite a bit of experience with Ben Hart, Corcoran, Cam Jurgens. Like you have Matt Sichterman at the right guard position, which has kind of been the question mark all offseason.
I mean, Noelle was not Power 5, but Noelle was a starting offensive lineman at a Division I school at Colorado State, and then decided to transfer to Nebraska and walk on. Like,
well, and
that doesn't happen.
And much. I was excited to hear Ezra Miller's name because a lot of guys have forgotten about Ezra Miller, the transfer from Iowa, and so just
wasn't he the one that walked away from football and then came back?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I think it's just good to hear. And another name that's refreshing to hear, Caleb Tanner.
I miss Caleb Tanner.
You have not heard Caleb Tanner. He made that big news right when he got on campus of them having the pic of all the dudes shirtless in the weight room, and he was like
yoked,
jacked, and everybody was like, "Oh, Caleb Tanner."
Caleb Tanner looks like a football. Caleb Tanner looks like he would take your head off.
Yeah, and so
his development has been a little bit slow. They still have tons of faith in him. They still put him out there from time to time outside backer, and he makes some plays every once in a while. Hopefully this is the year when he puts it all together because he's got the athleticism. I think it's just understanding the plays and doing the right things.
Yeah, and so Caleb Tanner's name was brought up. Brant Banks brought Caleb Tanner up multiple times today, saying that he's just had a really, really good spring.
Yes.
And so that's good to hear.
That's my
from the guy that's going up against him in practice.
I have a lot of dudes. That's
you
one
do.
of them.
Rico is the man of dudes.
That's one of them. Caleb Tanner and Noah Pola Gates are two of my dudes. And obviously Feldarius Payne. Shout out Feldarius Payne.
What about Damian Daniels? What about Snacks?
Not Snacks.
They called him Snacks again today.
It's not Snacks. It's D Boogie.
Somebody needs to tell the people talking to the media
get
that
his nickname
his
right.
name's not Snacks.
D Boogie, also one of my dudes. Jojo Doman, one of the guys.
So
he's older. He's a guy.
He is older. He's a man. Rico is the man's man of mans.
I'm the man of dudes.
Man of dudes.
whatever.
All right.
Something like that.
One more thing here before we get to break. We talk about 50-50 games on Nebraska's schedule, right? Nebraska hasn't won a lot of them. Yeah, Nebraska hasn't won a lot of them. One 50-50 game at the beginning of the season that might have now swayed in Nebraska's direction just a little bit, is the one against Northwestern. Northwestern yesterday, I don't know if you saw this, Rico, they had they were the team of breaking news yesterday. Today it's Nebraska. Yesterday,
I feel like theirs wasn't as bad.
It was not as bad.
It was bad, but it wasn't.
They named Hunter Johnson, the former 5-star from Clemson, their starting quarterback, over Ryan Helinski, who's the former South Carolina quarterback, starter out there in South Carolina. They named the former 5-star Clemson Tiger Hunter Johnson the starter. But then also they had some injuries. Cam Porter, who was still going to be a freshman running back this year, he's going to miss the whole 2021 season. His stats last year, 81 carries for 333 yards and 5 scores. He had a lower leg injury and will miss the entire season. Here's why it's notable. Northwestern is only returning 29% of their offensive production and 39% of their defensive production.
Those are small numbers.
Small numbers. Nebraska is like in the 50s and 60s, or 60s in the offense and 80 in the defense. So that just gives you kind of a baseline of where Northwestern's at on returning production. And that's the second most basically overhaul that they're going to have to do. Second most in college football, I should say. And so maybe if Northwestern's out of their their starting running back's not out or in, their starting running back is out.
Yes. You good there?
Yes. Starting running back is out. And a quarterback that many people don't think is very good in Hunter Johnson.
You never know.
Despite his former 5-starness.
You never know.
Nebraska might swing in Nebraska's direction and go from a 50-50 game to maybe a 65-35 game. So
that's such a weird percentage.
70-30. We'll go with that one. When we come back, Husker offensive lineman hit the transfer portal today. We didn't get to talk about this yesterday, the Christmas Day slate on the NBA games. Joel Embiid got paid.
Money.
That and more coming up next on the Happy Hour.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Keep your home comfort system running efficiently with ESP from Bryant. Get total system checks twice each year and never pay overtime on service calls. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
Take a look at your backyard. Does it feel like something is missing? You're right. Now is the perfect time to get an above-ground swimming pool from Bonsall Pool and Spa. Above-ground pools require less space than in-ground pools, are temporary structures if you ever choose to move, and are low maintenance. Plus, you'll never have to worry about the kids getting bored in the summertime anymore. Visit BonsallPool.com to schedule a pool service or visit them at 33rd and Highway 2. Bonsall Pool and Spa.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
For consistent weather here across the region, we'll see sunny skies, an afternoon high of around 90. South winds at 15 to 20. Overnight, mainly clear. A low dropping down to around 70. Mostly sunny tomorrow with a high of 89. By Friday, though, increasing clouds and an increasing chance of rain. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When you choose new flooring, you don't want to wait for weeks or months to enjoy it. You want it installed right away. Hi, Steve Carper from O Street Carpet. We hear stories every day about long waits and installation charges way higher than necessary. When you choose O Street Carpet, we'll measure free, install right away, and at a much better price. Stop in, shop now. Proud to be Lincoln's choice for nearly 50 years.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street and ostreetcarpet.com.
Don't you feel so free out here on the lake?
Not as free as this soda.
Where'd you get free soda?
Casey's. Buy 4 fountain drinks, 5th one's free.
I love free.
Well, then you'll love this. Bought this jerky. Got this free donut.
I love free donuts.
With Casey's Summer of Freedom sweepstakes, the more you buy, the more you can win, including free Lee Brice concert tickets. Casey's, here for good. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. For official rules, visit Casey's.com.
Mike Schaefer here with 5-star child care provider Lee Beecher from Bubbles and Blocks. Let's start with what makes Bubbles and Blocks special.
We have 3 beautiful locations in Lincoln that provide the safety, security, and reliability you need while also bringing a family feel to each classroom at every location.
I also hear some congratulations are in order.
Thank you. Yes, we just won the Lincoln Choice Award for Best Daycare and Preschool for the 3rd year in a row.
What should people do if they want to join the Bubbles and Blocks family?
Call to set up a tour to enroll your child today, or you can visit bubblesandblocks.com to apply to join our team.
Welcome to today's episode of The Great Unknowns. Last time we talked about why chickens can't just cross the road in peace. Today's topic is the great unknowns of the future. Like, am I ready for what life throws at me? Well, that answer is easy. Just call a local State Farm agent. State Farm agents will help you plan for the what ifs in life so you know what to expect if the unexpected happens. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything.
They really appreciate what she's done as a sister as well as a soldier and, supporting their country.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join.
Family members that are soldiers in the Army National Guard inspire and influence, setting a path for others.
It's validating knowing that, I kind of did my part to make sure this is what they actually wanted and that they feel the same way I do. I'm really proud that we get to help shape the future, and I know that my sisters are going to be amazing soldiers.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share in.
A lot of pride, and they're just out there doing something every day and then serving their country as well.
I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture.
Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Century Electric is now hiring for experienced licensed electricians. This position will serve around the Lincoln area on both commercial and residential jobs. Century Electric is well established with 40 years in operation. It offers a substantial hiring bonus as well as tons of benefits. For more information or to apply, go online to centuryelectric.com and click the careers tab or call them at 402-467-5550. Come work for a great company today with Century Electric, whose commitment is always to their customers.
Now back to the happy hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here one final time, happy hour, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. Nick Sainert, Enrique Alvarez Clary with you. Shout out Industry, baby. We love Industry, baby.
Mark loves it. Mark doesn't know yet, but he loves it. Hey.
He turned around. Hey. He turned around right after I said that. And I was like, "Oh, Mark wants to say shout out Industry, baby."
No, I just want to know why you're saying these foreign words that I don't understand on the radio. I was really confused. There's Da Baby. There's Lil Baby. What's Industry?
Industry, baby.
Okay.
It's a song by Lil Nas X.
Lil Nas.
Oh, it's a song.
It's by Lil Nas 10.
Okay. All right, good job, Little Nas.
10.
Lincoln Pius 10.
X. Yeah. Want to get to a couple texts here. 402-464-5685. Hold on, I lost it. Here it is.
Of course you did. You good?
Yes, my page refreshed, so I lost it.
I would stall, but I don't know what to say.
No, it's okay. Let's just move on. I'm not going to worry about that text.
Bye, text.
Yeah. Alrighty. Jimmy Fritchie, Husker offensive lineman, has entered the transfer portal.
Sad.
Yes. He had not been able to get on the field very much, if at all. So a little bit of a depth loss there.
Nebraska won the recruiting battle for Jimmy Fritchie over Clemson. I know that. I remember that.
Yes, Nebraska did. But now Jimmy is going to be leaving Lincoln and finding a new home.
Greener pastures.
Yeah.
We wish him good luck.
Yes. All right, Rico.
No bad vibes.
You are a Nets fan, or excuse me, you are a Knicks fan.
Am not
Knicks
a Nets fan.
Knicks fan. You are
the Nets are garbage. The Nets are everything that's wrong with the world.
I'm sure you saw this being an NBA fan. Christmas Day is going to feature a couple interesting games this year with the Brooklyn Nets and Los Angeles Lakers, the Atlanta Hawks, and the New York Knicks.
Destroy them.
And the Mavs versus Jazz.
It's
a good lineup.
Low-key one of the better games of that night. And by low key,
The Mavs Jazz?
And by low key, I mean high key. That one's going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah. I think the Jazz are going to be good this year.
I mean, they were good last year.
They were good last year, and they bring most people back, I
Yeah,
believe.
as long as Donovan Mitchell could stay healthy.
Yeah. The Mavs have been rumored to be very interested in Larry Markkinen.
Ooh.
And
Dude, Dallas just wants to be the all-European team.
yeah, it works. Go ahead and get rid of him, Chicago.
Wow.
I don't want him.
Wow.
Get rid of Markkinen.
You wouldn't be saying that if Markkinen signed and they were
I
trying
would
to
be.
trade for him.
No, I would be. I
If
would
they were
be
trying to
okay.
if-
Sign and trade deal him.
No. You're a monster.
I'm fine. The Bulls got Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan.
Overpaid for both.
They probably did, but it's fine. They got them both. They still have Zach LaVine, which that's where they need to ditch Markkinen because I would rather them be able to pay for LaVine. And they
Sad
still
day.
have Nikola Vucevic.
Nikola
Vucevic.
Vuce, as he is called in the NBA. I don't know what they call him in the NBA. It's fine.
Vooch. They call him Vooch.
The Knicks-Hawks matchup on Christmas Day is going to be amazing. It is the Knicks were not part of the Christmas Day lineup for the first time in forever last year. The Nets were. Ratings were terrible. The NBA was like, we need the Knicks back.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing.
Also,
Smart move. Also, it is the first time because the Nuggets are not playing on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
It is the first time since I think they said 2009. I could be wrong on that number. It's like late 2000s that the reigning MVP will not be playing on Christmas Day.
Oh,
So that's the
interesting.
thing. Hi. It's Coach Harvell.
Coach Harvell. Yes, if you don't know, one-on-one with DP next is going to feature Husker baseball assistant coach Lance Harvell. They won't be able to talk about it, but they just got their 5th commit of the 2023 class.
But he can't say anything.
He can't say about it. So that's
So
why we're going
don't
to talk
ask.
about it. Yes, don't ask, don't text.
So quit asking.
You can in Nick Saban voice.
He's not going to talk about it, so
Here's-
quit asking.
Staying with the NBA real quick. Celtics and Marcus Smart agreed on a 4-year, $77 million deal. Is Marcus worth it?
No.
Okay,
No.
what is Embiid worth his $196 million extension?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
if he can stay healthy.
is Philly approaching that with the idea of there's no way they're keeping Ben Simmons?
Yes. They're not going to re-sign him.
Mhm.
They're going to try and trade him. And once it comes down to the trade deadline, I think he's a free agent after this year. Once it comes down to the trade deadline, they're just going to take whatever deal's out there, which I think it would be smart of them, behoove them, to trade him before then.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get lowball offers when it comes to the trade deadline.
Especially if he's playing crappy.
Because it's going to be like, dude, you don't want him. We know you don't want him. Here's a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Also, shout out Leon Rose, the Knicks general manager, president of basketball operations. I don't know what his actual title is, but it's Leon Rose, for finessing the Boston Celtics. I thought they just signed Evan Fournier as a free agent. Nah, it was a sign and trade. They got Evan Fournier and 2 future 2nd-round picks, and all they did was send cash.
Oh,
Finessed.
Wow. How about that?
Take that, Tom.
We have about a minute left here. So let's recap the day. Husker football under violations for some analyst stuff.
For misuse of special teams analysts.
Yep.
Possibly, probably not yet, though. Some practice violations.
Yep.
But we'll see. Right now, it's just special teams analyst.
Yep.
What else happened today?
It was made known that Frost undermined or went behind Bill Moose's back to,
according to Brett McMurphy. But according to Scott Frost, he didn't touch any phones.
Yes.
No phones.
Because he doesn't do anything with the scheduling. That's
Nope,
what he
no
did.
schedules, no phones. Turner Corcoran possibly missing Illinois game, but not sure.
Exactly.
Cross-training offensive lineman.
Yep. Noah Pula Gates learned football
Noah Pula
yesterday.
Gates learned how to football.
And that's pretty much
Jimmy
it.
Fritchie transferred.
And that's pretty much it.
That's about it.
Lance Harvell with DP next. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Adios.
Mike Schaefer here with 5-star child care provider Lee Beecher from Bubbles and Blocks. Let's start with what makes Bubbles and